time for Citizen Extra. Good morning and a warm welcome. My name is Lillian Muli. In news we're following for you today. The NYS report will be tabled in Parliament today. Stephen Little will be giving us details on that. We're also expecting the EACC chair to release the EACC scorecard. That is also coming up in this news hour. Before that, though, we also want to be looking at issues surrounding the Unga revolution. As you know, there has been controversy over the government's acquisition of maize, and this has made fodder for talk. Last night we had Deputy President William Ruto on The Big Question with Ann Kiguta, and we'll be looking at excerpts. We'll be listening into excerpts from that conversation. My guests in studio this morning, Kazungu Kambi, he's the gubernatorial aspirant in Kilifi County, and also with us this morning is Patrick Mundani, aspiring MP Igamba Ngombe. Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on Citizen Extra. Before we get into our conversation this morning, we'll be listening in to excerpts of Deputy President William Ruto's reactions as regards the maize round. Let's listen in.
Issue, and you said you do have the information. We'd appreciate some clarity because there's also the prevailing concern that this is an artificial shortage that was created in order for certain maize traders to profit, I mean, at the expense of Kenyans. So I will ask again, sir, and hold you to an answer. Where exactly did this maize originate from, and how did it make its way to the market?
I think that's a very unfair question, Anne.
Why so?
Because the importer is not the government of Kenya, right? I work for the government of Kenya. I run the government of Kenya. Private persons run the business of selling and buying maize, which I don't, right? And whoever imported this maize is available, right? It is documented. And the information that I have, which you need to verify, is that this maize came from Mexico. There was transshipment in South Africa, and it found its way to Kenya. But to be fair, what is important to the government of Kenya is that we have maize at a price that is negotiated. It is good for human consumption. It is available in Kenya. And you see, I find it very strange when our competitors say, why did the maize arrive too soon? I mean, really? Is that a question that somebody should be asking? When was it supposed to arrive? I thought we have a situation in Kenya that requires urgent attention. And from where I sit, I would look for the nearest person with the commodity that I am looking for to sort out the challenge that we have as a country. And basically that is what happened.
But
except from that interview, when asked where the maize came from, Deputy President William Ruto said that where it came from should not matter. But what is important is the quality. The importer, he also said, is not the government of Kenya. He also said the maize came from Mexico and transited through South Africa. Gentlemen, starting with you, Mheshimiwa Kambi, listening in to the Deputy President's remarks there and him dismissing talk that indeed the acquisition of this maize does not add up, and indeed the duration at which it arrived into the country, and of course where it was sourced from. What are your reactions to this?
Thank you so much, my good friend Lillian, and may I take this opportunity first to thank you for inviting me to this show. You know, my good friend, we have a problem in Kenya, and there's a need that we divorce politics and how we are going to eradicate poverty, because if you look at the statement of His Excellency the Deputy President, I cannot agree further than that, because what is the problem today? The problem today is that the cost of Unga was almost at 200 shillings in my county, And if you go to some other areas, it was going for almost 300. So no matter whether the maize comes from Mexico, South Africa, Italy, we don't care. What we want to do is to minimize the pain and suffering of our people. And I think what the government did, it was good and it was wonderful. The mitigative measures they took is very good, and in fact I would say that it should have happened yesterday, not today.
Patrick, you know, the Deputy President dismissing talk about the acquisition of this maize and saying that really it does not matter where the maize was sourced from. Do you agree with Mheshimiwa Kambi's sentiments there that indeed these are petty issues?
Thanks so much, Lillian, and thanks so much for having me here. All I want to say, I listened to the Deputy President very clearly last night. You know, we have a very funny opposition. 1 week ago, they were calling for the government to bring the price of Unga down as quickly as possible. Now the Jubilee government has done that. We moved to the next problem now, where this maize came from. we have an opposition that is always looking for the next problem. So I'm sure within the next 1 week, the problem will be the millers have milled this maize so quickly. So what I want to say, I want to congratulate the Jubilee government. They have sorted a problem that had really struck this country. But I want to say, that's just a short-term solution that the Jubilee government has done. We need to look at Unga in Kenya in a broader perspective. We need to look at what is ailing our agriculture sector. That's a short-term solution. I hail it. I say it was a good job well done. But we need to look at agriculture in this country. We don't need to discuss after one season again importing maize from Mexico or from whichever country. So what I would advise the opposition to do, I like them, but what they need to do is give Kenyans a solution. They are an alternative government. I've been waiting for them to give proposals of what should have been done. But all what they are doing is trying to find out loopholes and problems.
You know, you may call them loopholes, but there is an image that we have of this maize, and the production date on the packaging reads March 2017. So Kenyans, you know, also asking whether the government is hoodwinking them, because in William Ruto's interview yesterday, and I think I have that statement here somewhere, he did allude to the fact that that this process started in April. But when you look at the packaging on the maize, you see that it's clearly written that the production date reads March. Mheshimiwa Kambi?
I think the packaging doesn't matter to me. What matters really is how our people are going to benefit, and I look at the greater good, and the greater good basically is that so many people are going to benefit from this decision. So basically let's move from every day, any small thing we bring politics in. We need to feed our people. And I agree with my brother, we've got to look at the long-term solution. And I think, I'm not here to campaign for Jubilee, because of course I'm not in Jubilee. But truth be said, what they have done and what the plans were initially, I think they mean well for this country.
And this indeed is short-term relief for Kenyans, because when asked whether the consignment is enough to take care of the shortage, the Deputy President did say that there is expectation of more maize. So is this a campaign strategy, Patrick? The fact that we are still expecting another consignment, meaning this is short-term relief?
What I want to say, Lillian, I want to say this. For starters, it's better that now we are discussing that in the market, the common mwananchi can get cheap unga, can get unga at an affordable price. So we as the political class now can be left out to sorting out where the maize came from, as long as Mama Boga is getting unga at a cheap price. What I want to say is this. I've said it again that that's a short-term solution, but I want to say we can't say for Jubilee there's a political strategy. Jubilee did not create a food crisis. Jubilee did not create drought. Jubilee does not bring rain. So we can't say Jubilee is using this as a political strategy. And what I want to say, let's not look at food shortage in Kenya in isolation. We need to look at Tanzania. We need to look at Uganda. You know, what has been happening initially, we have always had this problem in Kenya. But what was happening, it was very easy to import maize from Tanzania. Millers could get maize from Uganda. But what has happened, Tanzania is facing a similar problem.
But if indeed you say that this is not, you know, artificially created by Jubilee, were they then caught flat-footed? This is an election year, and they certainly don't need this situation arising at this particular point. Shouldn't they have planned better?
This is what I was trying to explain.
Yeah.
Initially, what has been happening in this country, we have been having maize shortages in this country, but it was very easy for millers to get maize from Uganda, very easy to get maize from Tanzania, but Tanzania has placed an embargo. Uganda has placed an embargo against exporting their maize outside their countries because they are also facing a similar problem. But what I want to say, this has been an eye-opener. At least we Kenyans know there's a place we can get cheap maize. That's what matters to us Kenyans. So we are sure within the next few days we can have cheap unga in the market. But I want to say this. I want to say, as a government, it's not good to be caught flat-footed with such a serious matter. We need to be prepared. On that I agree.
Mheshimiwa Kambi, has this development altered the narrative of high unga prices as a campaign topic from the opposition? We know that they've been riding on the unga revolution. So do you see this altering the narrative now?
Yes, it has. It has changed the narrative completely, because I think we don't have now opposition, because all of us are candidates, including His Excellency the President of this Republic, Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta. So the narrative then was that they were going to incite people to revolt against the government because the cost of unga was too high. But now it has been brought up to 90 shillings per 2 kilogram packet. Basically, and historically, my good friend Lillian, in 2009, I was a member of parliament, and we had the same problem. And then opposition leader now, Honorable former Prime Minister, was Prime Minister then, and we imported maize from South Africa, and there was a big scandal. And you remember, I went even to the street complaining that the maize which was brought was not fit for consumption. But that is still water under the bridge. Basically, what is before us is that we need to come up with strategies of how we are going to come out of this small problem. I call them small problems because, remember, we have had 3 years conservative, 3 years without rain, and we should. There were mitigative measures like the Galana Kulalo. I don't know what happened, but you remember I was one of the cabinet ministers in the first batch. So there was that plan. So Galana Kulalo would have alleviated all these problems we are having today. But I don't know how far it has gone. And again, there are 2 sets of government. Agriculture was devolved in the new constitution. So that means the county government also do have a role to play. So like in my county, we have water running all the way to the Indian Ocean. So there's no dam which has been done, nothing. So we cannot just blame the national government. Even the county government do have a share of the blame.
And how to ensure that unscrupulous businessmen do not abuse this subsidy? We know that there are certain individuals, businessmen, who have been unmasked, who shipped the maize to Mombasa, but now that it is on the ground, how do we ensure that it is not abused? Patrick?
You know what I want to say, first, on building on what Wazilia said, I think in this country the agriculture sector has completely collapsed at the county level, because you find a county that receives 10 billion each financial year, questioning the national government about hunger. Lillian walked to any county in this country today. There are no extension officers for agriculture. They are not paid. There are no vehicles. Their vehicles broke down. The county government, when they receive their money, only concentrates on projects where they can get quick cash. That's why we have been discussing roads only at health, forgetting that agriculture is the backbone of this nation, and it has devolved function, and the counties are receiving money for the same. So I want to hail the national government because they are trying to look for a solution, but also call upon the county government to pull up their socks and work on the agriculture sector. About business, what I know about politics in Kenya, when people have a genuine issue and they are facts, they are so quick to rush to court. But I've had this thing for the last 3 days. I've not seen anybody in court. So I can't comment now about business people who have misused this opportunity until we have facts, and those who have facts go to court, and then we start discussing it. Up to now, it's still a rumor. What matters is that the opposition had a political agenda, that there is anger in Kenya, that the price of maize is high, and now they have got another one. Where did the maize come from? And we're joined in studio by Benji Ndola, who is a political analyst. Benji, I believe you've been listening into a conversation, and it is on the maize that the country has, that the government has acquired over the current Unga prices. We are having a conversation that is focusing on Deputy President William Ruto's remarks yesterday, where he dismissed talk that indeed, just how the maize was acquired, how it was procured, and indeed the duration it took for it to arrive into the country did not add up. What is your initial reaction to this?
Good morning, the lovely Lillian. Sorry I'm a little late. We have a culture in this country, and the former minister Kazungu Kambi in Labour can certainly concur that we've kind of missed the way in that profiteering has become a way of life. This was all very curious. Mexico apparently saying that they did not sell this maize. PS talking about ships hovering on the seas carrying maize, looking for somewhere to, quote, dump it. I don't think anyone believed the Deputy President last night in this studio when he said that this was all procedural, and that it's very, very normal. I think profiteering is there, exploitation of a situation. People are planning to reap big, in a quick, tenderpreneurship kind of way. And what this underscores is the lack of proper planning, the lack of proper systems, the lack of predictability, knowing that we'll have these deficits. And this is all the more painful, Lillian, given the amount of money that has been sunk into the Galana Kulalu scheme to the tune of billions of shillings. I mean, we must start doing things in government, not just for the benefit of a few to make money, but for the larger, the greater good. It's unfortunate that the government is only moving once people have really come up in arms saying we cannot afford to buy maize meal, which is consumed by 90% of households at 150 shillings, when many of the lower cadre of workers in this country earn 200, 300 shillings a day. So again, the challenge is that to the Jubilee government, some of us have been very consistent, telling them that they need to have a sense of purpose and a sense of seriousness in how they do their work, so that believability is also, within reach.
Right, and as we continue with this conversation, just to digress a little bit, the NCIC is holding a press conference at Safari Park as we speak, where they're lending their voice on the current stalemate between the opposition, that is NASA, and indeed the IEBC. NASA calling for presidential results to be announced at constituency level, and the IEBC, on the other hand, going to the Court of Appeal, saying that its independence should not be compromised, and that indeed the overall returning officer that should announce the presidential results should be the IEBC chair, Wafula Chebukati. Let's listen into what's going on there.
Kuna nafasi pia ya kukata rufaa, na ni haki ya mtu, ya taasisi na kila mtu. Na ingefaa viongozi wetu waheshimu ya kwamba tumejitengenezea katiba na taasisi tofauti ili tushughulikiwe kisheria, na wale hawatosheki wanaweza kujiunga as parties to the appeal to the suit and make their legal presentation. Jambo lingine ambayo inaweza kuleta msoso baadaye, ambayo sio ya kawaida ambayo tumeiona, ni kwamba katika mikutano ya kisiasa siku hizi kila chama inaenda na nambari ya kura ile wanasema tayari wako nayo. Pande moja wanasema wako na milioni 10, na wengine wanasema tuko na milioni 10 na kitu, lakini kura haijapigwa mpaka sasa. Sijui wanatabiri vipi, sijui hesabu hiyo walifanyia wapi, na hiyo ni kupanga akili ya raia wakatae baadaye results ya election ikishatangazwa. Manake umeweka fikra ya watu kwamba sisi tayari tuko na milioni kadhaa, isipofika hiyo utasema utakataa. Sio kawaida ya watu kutangaza uchaguzi ambayo haijafanywa. Wape wa Kenya nafasi wafanye uamuzi wao, kisha kura ihesabiwe, kisha itatangazwa. Alafu kama hujatosheka, kuna njia ya kusema kutosheki, na njia hiyo ni ya kotini. Lingine ningependa kusema kwamba wakati tulipokuwa tunafanya uteuzi wa vyama tofauti, cohesion monitors wa NCIC na wengine wamekuwa wakitupasha habari ya mambo ambayo yaweza kusorotesha amani na uwiano mwema, na tumekuwa tukipeleka habari hizi kwa departments tofauti ya serikali husika, na hatua imeshukuliwa. Tutakuja kuboresha ili kuhakikisha kwamba yale mambo yanaweza kufuruga amani yanashughulikiwa mapema, na kwamba uchaguzi utafanya kwa njia ya amani na haki. Hayo ndio tungetaka kuwauliza wa Kenya. Ni jukumu lenu kuwachagua viongozi wenu. Fanyeni hivyo bila mtu yeyote kuwatisha, bila matusi na bila vita. Haki yako, kura yako. Asantini. Naweza kuchukua maswali kama yamo.
Wewe Tanzania umesema kwamba hautakubali uamuzi wa mahakama kuhusu swala la mizani na mizani na mashinani. Mwanzo huoni kwamba huo ni chochezi ili tumeni nafanya nini, na kwamba pamoja tu na kusema kwamba hatua zitachukuliwa?
Waelezeni kwanza, tume hii lazima tuwazungumzia wa Kenya na kueleza ukweli wa mambo. Mtu yeyote ambayo anaamini demokrasia anastahili kuheshimu sheria iliyowekwa. Ikiwa wewe unaheshimu demokrasia, lazima uheshimu sheria iliyowekwa. Namba ya pili, mtu yeyote ambayo anaheshimu demokrasia, nataka kuwa kiongozi, lazima uheshimu taasisi ya taifa zilizowekwa kwa mujibu wa katiba ya nchi hiyo. Lazima uheshimu katiba, lazima uheshimu amri ya koti, lazima uheshimu uamuzi ya Wakenya. Ikiwa hatutakuwa tuko tayari kuheshimu uamuzi wa raia, hatuheshimu uamuzi wa raia, hatuheshimu uamuzi wa koti, hatuheshimu sheria iliyowekwa, basi wewe unajitayarisha kuvunja nchi vipande, na hiyo haikubaliki na Wakenya, haikubaliki na sheria pia. Well, unajua kuna mtu anaweza kutoa matamshi ambayo hauwezi kufunga mdomo yake, na tamshi hilo laweza kuwa la kuleta shuki, inaweza kuwa incitement, lakini pia inaweza kuwa uchochezi tu. Na tunaangalia kama hayo matamshi yanaambatana na freedom of speech ama ni incitement, kwa sababu pia hatuko tayari na sisi kuwaeleza wanasiasa na viongozi ya kwamba hamuna ruhusa ya kuzungumza yale ambayo yako moyoni yao. We don't want to gag anybody. We want the people to speak, to exercise their freedom of speech, but they must also do it in a responsible manner. We're studying this. We do not want to be part of this fray. We don't want any political actor to feel in any way that the NCIC or any government agency is restricting their freedom to solicit for votes. But please do so within the law and in a responsible manner. Yes, sir. Nauliza wamepewa na nani? Sheria mimi ni mwanasheria, nafahamu sheria hupitishwa na bunge, na sio kwamba ikipitishwa na bunge huwa inaweza kuwa it may not be very clear sheria vile ilivyo, na kama haieleweki vyema, ni wajibu ya mtu yeyote yule, uwe raia wa kawaida, uwe kiongozi, uwe taasisi, uende mahakamani ukauliza sheria hii maana yake nini, inasema vipi.
And as we speak, the EACC chair is releasing the EACC scorecard. Let's cross over there and listening to happenings. Rather, we'll be going there later, where we'll be listening into happenings there. But before that, back again to the big question last night on Citizen TV, where Deputy President William Ruto was hosted by Ann Kiguta. Let's listen into what he said on the war on corruption.
Appears to have walked from, one scandal into the other. NYS, Youth Fund, Eurobond, maize and health. And now we have the U.S. government suspending financial support worth nearly 2.1 billion shillings due to what it's calling corruption and weak procedures and a lack of accountability. Is this not an indictment to the state of affairs under the Jubilee administration?
Not at all. No other administration has focused and put resources behind accountability and all the institutions that serve accountability in the history of Kenya. No other administration, this Jubilee administration. We have put colossal amount of resources, human, financial, behind the DPP, behind the EACC, behind the courts, behind the investigative authorities, behind the police, behind the DCI. We have even gone further and established a multi-sectoral approach to some of the complex issues that have that inform corruption. We have taken steps to make sure that we work with international institutions and governments to make sure that any proceeds of corruption are recovered. Under this administration, money has been recovered that has been stashed away by corrupt companies. Let me tell you, when you talk about the NYS, we have prosecuted people on the NYS theft. When you talk about Eurobond, and do you know that Eurobond is the biggest lie ever told in the history of Kenya? It doesn't matter how much one wants to lead, but when a person old enough to be my father and grandfather of my children lies that 200 billion shillings has been stolen in Euro bond, it is mind-boggling. It is the biggest lie ever told by an adult. Not a single shilling, my dear sister. No institution Do you sincerely believe that the United States government will collude with the government of Kenya to steal money borrowed for Kenyans?
And that is the government's stand as regards the war on corruption. I'll start with you, Kazungu Kambi, having served as a CS and having been ousted over corruption allegations. Do you feel you were unfairly accused? What are your thoughts on the government's fight on corruption?
Thank you, Anne, and that's a very good question. I think the war on corruption, this government, because there are many things the government has done which are very good for Kenyans, but I think we have missed on how to fight corruption. I'm a development practitioner, and corruption is an enemy to development, and without development we cannot grow this economy. And basically what happened, and I think I want to congratulate the president, because he came out clearly and said that you folks, you lied to me, I had to sacrifice my friends because of you. That means these were just rumors, but again, I was taken through a process. I was vindicated eventually, because the DPP said that you cannot say that Kazungu abused his position by appointing two able people who are Kenyans with the capacity and ability to do that job I appointed for. But again, that was the charge sheet. But before I stepped down, they had said that I did influence the board of NSSF to increase a tender from 3 billion to 5 billion. How on earth would a cabinet secretary, who one does not even sit on the board of any parastatal, it is the PS who represents the government, would influence a tender? And even the managing director has no authority whatsoever to influence a tender, because there's a tender committee which normally deals with that. So I think I was wrongful dismissed. But again, as the president was honest, he said that people lied to me. They are my folks. They remain my folks. For me, it's not about the job or resources or money. It is about this country, and I do think that the country is bigger than an individual, as the late Saitot said. So I think there's a need of us, we as leaders, to come together and see how we can fight this animal. It is a cancer. We must all fight corruption.
Patrick, when the deputy president says that there's no other administration that has focused on corruption such as this one, and indeed that accountability has been key for them. When you look at issues such as the NYS scandal, the Eurobond, and recently, indeed, as was put forward to him, the U.S. government suspending funds to the Ministry of Health, it is clear that corruption in Kenya is endemic. Therefore, there's almost a sense that this current government is condoning it.
Thank you. And what I want to say this. I want to say corruption is a serious problem in this country. We've still serious corruption allegations in this country, but I want to agree with the deputy president a little bit on one thing, that it's not the deputy president or the president to fight corruption. If the allegations of corruption, we have the EACC, we have the DPP's office, which are fully funded. I've not seen the DPP even a single day come out and say that my office has been starved of finances or human resource. I've not seen the EACC complain even a single day. So what we need to do, Lilian, I'm seeking to be a member of parliament, and what I'm advising members of parliament to do, let's stop discussing issues on talk shows and on street. If there are corruption cases that the EACC is not dealing with, well, let's go to parliament and face the EACC and ask them straight to their face, what are you doing about corruption? If they are doing, the DPP office is not doing well, let's not talk about it in Lalis. We have a parliament where we sit, where these members of parliament sit. So because when they discuss these things in rallies, I think they are not genuine. Because I'm waiting for a single day. We are those who are saying that the Jubilee government is not handling corruption. We'll go to parliament and say we have ICC names who are forwarded to you, you did not investigate. We have a DPP names who are forwarded for you for prosecution, you have not worked. And the parliament has powers to deal with the EACC, to deal with the DPP. So until that is done, most of things remain political. But what I want to say, as a young politician who wants to come in the leadership in this country, I want to call upon leaders that corruption is a moral problem. Let's not wait for the law, let's not wait for the president, let's not wait for the EACC or the DPP to tell us it's not going to be corrupt. Lillian, I'm a young Kenyan, and we the youth of this country are really suffering because of corruption in this country. When there is corruption, the people who suffer most in this country are the youth and the financially weak in this country. So what I want to say, I agree that there's a lot of corruption in this country. On that I will agree.
Right, and Benji, I'll take you back to that conversation, and go back to maize and the procurement of the maize that is now in the country, and the fact that the deputy president totally dismissed claims that indeed this was seen as a bit of a corrupt acquisition. And one of the things we do know is that the government procurement and tendering systems is one of the major avenues through which thieving cartels target and operate. And already in the dailies there's a lot of talk on the fact that there's cartels that were involved in this particular subsidy. Your thoughts on that?
Lillian, is this the first time we've had an issue with maize, bulk maize, being brought in surreptitiously and dumped off to make big money? Mzee Kibor of Eldoret was on record, if you go and check past press details, saying that in 2009 that was the fastest money he ever made, and I think the amount at that time was $1 million. I disagree with Waziri Kambi that a CS is somehow a bystander. The truth of the matter is that even though the CS doesn't sit in the tender committee, etc., you will not find in a government institution, a ministry, a parastatal, you will not find many people who are able to stand up to somebody who is flying the flag, somebody who sits in cabinet where there are only 18 out of 43 million Kenyans. And so the problem that we're having, Lillian, is our country is becoming a talking shop, so that everybody, starting with the president, is telling a lot of stories, is telling a lot of going around in circles, while, as Patrick says, this grand corruption diverts money meant for ARVs, money that could feed the poor, that could do subsidy for fertilizers. I saw right in this studio on a different interview earlier in the week a scandal on fertilizer, where there were allegations that in Ruaraka people were hired to grind stones and pack those as fertilizer. We've got to get to a point, Lillian, where we must say enough is enough as Kenyans. We cannot continue down this road of storytelling and lies, frankly, lies. I mean, not many people believed the deputy president last night when he was pontificating about corruption and about, these huge ideals. And I'm not here to bash the government. However, the fact of the matter remains that there is a gap, a gulf between the rhetoric from top echelons of government across the board and the reality on the ground. Because, Lillian, you and I know that the EACC and many of these bodies are not sufficiently independent enough. They are not constitutionally, on paper they are, but practically they are used for witch hunts and whatnot. And I noticed keenly that one of the institutions that the deputy president left out last night in his interview was the Office of the Auditor General, which has done a very clinical job looking at the accounts, looking at disbursements, looking at discrepancies in budgets and outright theft. But that office has been completely under siege, with even the attempted removal of a man I happen to know that commands a lot of respect in the region and internationally, FCPA Edward Ouko. And so again, there's a difference, Lillian, between what they're saying and what is actually on the ground. And they run the risk of this having a blowback politically in August.
And we're taking a break now. We continue with more on Citizen Extra. We'll be right back.